This is a video that describes a brush cut. A brush cut is a cut that's done entirely with the clippers, back, sides, and top. So the Barber method dictates that we always start in the same place, right? So we always start in the back, on the bottom, and this fade is going to be really, it's more of a taper fade, and it's gonna be pretty consistent from bottom to top. We're not trying to make any kind of weight lines in the fade or anything like that. We really want this to transition nicely. This client is a real pro, so I want to make sure he looks sharp. He really prefers the brush cut, but not in a way that makes him look like he's in the military, even though it would definitely pass for a military cut. Typically military cuts are high fades, and this brush cut is going to be certainly faded, but not in a way that makes him look like he, knows his 11 general orders. So we're coming in with our trimmers. Here, notice the angle I'm etching. I'm not making a line with the clippers. I'm actually making kind of a jagged line, if anything. If you notice that, where I stop the T-trimmer, it's kind of a jagged line. The reason for that is that when I come in with my regular clippers here, closed all the way, and I begin to kind of gently work that up, what's happening here is it fades it without putting any kind of line in it. A lot of guys, I'll put a line in that. Look how long that took me to get that out of there. Hardly any time at all. So I open my clippers just a little bit, and I'm just kind of going flat against the skin now. So I'm a little bit further away from the scalp. And now I'm going to go to the other side. So notice I didn't worry about finishing out that to the crown. I can come back to do that when I go to the next side. Like I've said before, the Barber method dictates that we go kind of taper the nape, which is the very bottom, then the crepe, which is just below the crown, and then we stop. We can cut the crown later. Next we come to the sides. We're going to cut that sideburn section in. If you notice, it goes from the little point, pretty much in alignment with his eyebrow. There's a point in the hair, and that goes forward and then back again. Kind of doing that same thing. So we're coming in with our T-trimmers. Again, I'm etching with a corner. I'm not making a straight line. That's going to be important. Okay, I'm going to put those back, and we're going to finish back up with the clippers. Coming up and around. I'm going to connect. And because I didn't make a straight line, I don't have to scrub anything out. And from now on, my comb's going to be my guideline. So I'm watching to see what I've cut, and I'm matching what I have cut with what I haven't cut. And I'm evening it out. Now I'm coming back and connecting in this side to the back, so that the side's all done. I've got my clippers opened up now. I'm just gradually lifting that up. That takes time to master, but as you can see, it's just sort of following a nice even line. It's nice and smooth. These brush cuts, it's important that when you use a guard on a brush cut, it's really easy to leave ledges. But in a brush cut that you're doing with your comb, you're able to sort of work that in with the shape of the head. So it looks really nice. Now I'm just gonna clean up that line. If we've taken some bulk out, we're gonna adjust that fade a little bit more. Now we can see him coming up around him, seeing where things need to flow up and around. It needs to be round. I don't want any flat spots. It should all just kind of curve around his head. Uniform. Doing that scooping motion, getting that transition going, and then taking the bulk out. Side's looking pretty good. Imagine that, no guards. Faded up pretty quick. No line to scrub out. Same thing here. We're gonna get that nice and clean. Now I'm gonna probably come back with my T-trimmers and get that down to skin. This is actually kind of a taper fade, as you can see. I've talked a little bit about this before, how low fades tend to kind of come up and around the ear, but taper fades stay pretty low. It's about as low as it gets, and then we're gonna come in here with the clippers totally shut, do a scooping motion to get that transition. Instead of putting a line in and scrubbing it out later with lots of pressure and agitation to the scalp, we use a scooping motion instead. So we put the jagged edge in with those clippers, and then we use a scooping motion to connect where we put the length in with the T-trimmers, and then it scoops out. That way I can just grab that hair and with my comb and finish it up. Connect what I see, what I've cut, with where I need to go on the top. Sometimes it's good when you're doing these little fades to take a step back and see what you've done. When you get too close to the hair, it looks different than when you step away from it. And when you step away from it, well, that's what most people see. So make sure it looks good. Now that I've got that, I'm going to come up a little bit higher, and you can see I'm just using that where I cut last, and then I'm cutting what I need to go next. If you don't include the hair that you just cut on your comb so that you can see where you've been to connect it, then you're going to start cutting random chunks, and it doesn't look very good. So you can see here I'm taking it in. I don't want it to be a strange shape where he sort of comes straight up the sides of his head. Brush cuts kind of go with a rounder look. And technically a crew cut could be a brush cut, but brush cuts are usually actually a little bit shorter even than a crew cut. But it's not a flat top, and it's not a buzz. A brush cut is controlled with the comb. So it makes it a brush cut. Kind of watching and seeing, making sure it's round. If it's not round, I pick it up with my comb, and I can see, okay, there's the lump right there. I need to take that out. All right, so you remember that little ledge in the back? Now we can take it out, okay? So we're coming back up, taking care of the transition into the crown before we start working over the top of the head. Just slowly working my way up. I never think to grab one, but if you actually get a fatter comb, I think they call them flat top combs. They're just not the ones that look like a pick or a spatula or something. They're just fatter than the 420 combs. Those are actually pretty great combs for cutting that shape, for doing a brush cut. I just never think to grab it. I never think to grab that comb for a brush cut. I'm just using a 420 comb. If you want to make it a little easier on yourself, use the fatter brush. I'm sorry, the fatter comb. All right, so you can see it's pretty equal. I'm using the mirror. I'm looking at it and making sure that it's pretty symmetrical. Heads are usually not that symmetrical, so it's important that you're actually, that's the one nice thing about doing a brush cut without guards, is that when you use a guard to just cut a number 5 on top or something, usually the head itself isn't very symmetrical, so it doesn't look like a symmetrical cut. And actually it's their head that's not symmetrical. Well, nobody says. But when you come in with the brush cut, you can actually make it look symmetrical because maybe the hair's actually just a little bit longer on the left than it is on the right, you know? But you wouldn't know that looking at it, because the only reason the hair maybe is longer or shorter because there's a divot in the head or a flat spot, or it comes to a point. Not exactly something that you want to accentuate. And it will be accentuated with a guard. Alright, so we're coming up around here. Now here, again, I'm looking at the hair on the left, which is I've already cut. And I'm using that as a guideline to know how much to cut the hair that's I'm cutting near the middle. You notice that, yeah, I could have just grabbed a guard, but there's no guarantee this guy's head is actually very round. So, yep, there again, we're just kind of taking it down. When you do this right, not that we're in a rush, we're not, because usually we're having nice conversation. I used to really rush through my haircuts. And I don't know if that was just a force of habit, but I've taken it a lot slower lately. I've tried to put more meaning into each cut so that I'm not wasting cuts. I'm not in a big rush, but I'm not wasting cuts either. It's actually more comfortable for the client anyway. If you're in a hurry and it feels like you're rushing through a cut, he might get the impression that you're not really trying very hard. And, well, that's not true. But you don't want to give off that impression. Okay, so here you can't really see it very well because of the angle of his head, but all we're doing is picking that hair up just like we always have, and we're kind of working it over. Kind of going to different sides, different angles with a brush cut, because you're getting it all pretty much the same length, or at least one, it's all connecting. It's not as big of a deal that you cut in the direction of the hair pattern with a brush cut. Especially since it's all with the clippers. But you want to keep working that comb through. What I'm doing is as I pull that comb across like that, I'm looking for any long hairs that I missed to make sure I didn't, do that. So here I'm looking again. Okay, just make sure there's no long hairs I'm missing here. I must have seen something because I'm coming back over the haircut to verify that it is even. He gets to take a look at it, see if he likes it. And I'm going to come back over on that left side again. Like I said, it's important that it all connects, but it doesn't have to be all the same length. It just has to look symmetrical when it's all done. So I'm picking that up. I'm just looking for irregularities. This is a brush cut. It's not a buzz. It's not a crew cut. This is where that shaping comes into play. As I'm turning the chair, I'm also looking at sort of the horizon of his head, right? Meaning that as I'm turning him, I'm making sure I'm not seeing any bumps coming out of the sides or anything like that. From all different angles. That way there's no angle, there's no position someone could stand looking at his head and say, ooh, what's that bump sticking out? If you have efficient cutting style, then you don't have to worry about that ever happening. See, that fade looks pretty good. No guards necessary, just skill. And that'll surprise people. This cut will surprise people when they say they want like a number 5 on top or something like that. They like it short. They want a number 5 on top. When they say something like that and you just start working it over freehand like that, they're really surprised by it. And they're actually also surprised at how fast it took, because even if you use a number 5 guard or number 4 guard, typically those guards just can't grab all the hair. So you have to end up going over the head several times. And you're right in their scalp, right? When you're doing a brush cut with a comb, you're not riding their scalp at all. You're actually just picking up hair with the scalp and kind of gently pulling it away from their head. It's not going to have any red marks all over. Another really safe thing about this is if they have any moles or, you know, those little bumps on heads. Some guys have a bump on their scalp. If you're riding a guard over that, you can poke that thing, hit it several times. It's not very comfortable. But if you're picking it up like this and you're doing a brush cut, clipper over comb, then there's less chance that you're gonna cause them to bleed on the top of their head. So just clean it up with the T-trimmer, make sure I don't miss any little hairs that might be poking out of a strange part of his ear or anything like that. Notice that we still follow the same pattern. We start on the back, we went to the right side, we went to the left side, and we cleaned up the top. The Barber method remains consistent. See if he likes it. Well, of course he does. He loves it. Oh yeah, he said, cool. All right, so we're gonna finish up with the neck shave, and yeah, I think you've seen enough of my videos to know what happens next. We get a little neck shave going on. We throw the bay rum aftershave on. But of course, we gotta vacuum them off first. We don't use the old blow dryer on his head so that all that hair goes down. We use a vacuum to get the hair off of him. And then of course we take the time to do the neck shave. So I don't think I have any more to add to that. Just pay attention to all the moves and watch the neck shave. That is a proper brush cut. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.